Hello, my fellow language learners and language learning gamers. Welcome back to the channel. So great to be here with you today, and we're going to be talking about the Heading Into Language Land card game. This is a card game that I designed as a language learner for other language learners to help make their language learning process truly unforgettable with friends. This game has a printable version, which you can print out at home, cut out, and start playing with right away. It has a virtual version, which we are actually using online every Saturday to play with people from around the world. You can come out and join us and give that a try for free. And we also have this real deck version, which I ship for free to any location worldwide. This game has over 100 different topics that you can speak about in your target language, whatever that target language happens to be. This game is meant to sort of scaffold you and inspire you to learn about different kinds of things, to plug the holes in your game, so to speak, because a lot of people learn the typical everyday things that you have to know when you learn a foreign language. A lot of people progress through the usual classes, the usual textbooks. They all watch the same usual videos online. This game gets into a lot of the fun stuff that people rarely train around. So this video today is going to be kind of a primer. It's going to give you a fresh, up-to-date look at how the game works. But I really hope you'll come out to play with us online and make friends, because we've been playing together since April of 2023 online, and we've formed some really good friendships along the way. Okay, so how to begin? First, you would shuffle up the deck of cards. I've already shuffled the deck, and I placed some cards out to build the board, to form the board. And you can make the board of spaces however big or however small or any shape that you want, but usually we make a sort of grid. And you also have to choose your starting character. You can be any character that you want to be. You can be one of the good guys or one of the bad guys. You need something to keep track of your longevity points. Those are basically your life points, or it really shows how strong you are. A dice to roll for chance, and maybe a pawn or something like that, a meeple to show where you are. And this is how the turn goes. The first thing that you're going to do is flip over a card showing where you intend to move. So you don't roll a dice and move right away in this game. That's not how it works. This game has a built-in sort of exploratory or discovery function where every single turn and every single game is going to be different. You flip over a card and you reveal something, you encounter something. And that adds a very exciting element to the game that keeps the replay value of this game really high, because no two games ever play quite the same way twice. So I've just encountered an ally, and I know this card is an ally because we have the same color name. So I want to try to let her join my team. And how I do that is I roll the dice and I speak about a topic on the ally's card. It's sort of like passing the riddle of someone that you encounter on the road. And if you can succeed, they will join your team, something like that. So if I roll a 4, then I have to talk about a kind of makeup. And again, you can speak according to your ability level in your target language. Maybe that's a single word that fits the topic. Maybe it's a short phrase, or it could even be complete sentences. You might even have a little conversation with the other players about that topic. But if you can speak successfully about that topic in your target language, then the ally would join your team. You replace the empty space on the board with a fresh card from the deck. We don't know what that is. And then you can move successfully and gain a longevity point. Now, if you couldn't speak successfully about the topic, which is rare in our games because we usually help each other and allow people to look up stuff that they want to say, but if you were playing more strictly and you really couldn't think of anything to say, then your turn would end at that point. We would flip this card back over, leave it in place, you don't get to move, and you lose a point. Okay, so she joins my team now, and that's going to give me more options about different things that I can speak about in future battles in the game. Now, we're going to go along here. I'm going to show you different types of cards that come up. So another type of card that could come up is a special pickup, or even something like an animal. Those things also we can call over to sort of join our team. So this magical staff, I roll the dice. If I can speak successfully about a topic on this card, I can pick it up, I can take it. Now, you might have noticed the cards only have numbers 2, 3, 4, 5. So what about number 1, number 6? If I roll a number 1 in this game, that's unlucky. That means the next player in line can choose my topic, so they can try to trip me up and make me speak about things that I don't really know a lot about. So if they know my weaknesses, they can exploit that. If I roll a 6, on the other hand, that is lucky, and that means I can choose any topic that I want to speak about. So having the categories like this, where 1 and 6, it adds a little bit of randomosity into the game and makes things a little more unpredictable, which is fun. But if I speak successfully about this, any sort of weapons or pickups or animals like horses, there are horses in this game, then it comes onto my team. If I can't speak successfully about it, I have to put it back and I don't get to move, so maybe somebody else could come and take it if they want it. But let's say that I got it, and I replace the empty space. I move along successfully, up 1 longevity point, up 1 LP. Let's see another type of card. Maybe it's a location. Locations are really fun because they always stay face up on the board where they are discovered. So over time, as you uncover more locations, it starts to build a unique map for that particular game. And people might want to move to different locations for different reasons because there are special power texts on every card, including the locations. Now, this game has a really cool feature, which is you can play it in a very simple mode. If you just want to focus on speaking about the topics, you can ignore the special rules on every card which are below the topics, and that keeps the game really simple for casual gamers and people who just want to practice their target language. But if you're really into games, if you are a gamer, you can start to pay attention to those special power texts below the topics, and the game starts to get really complex and strategic. So when you see different locations on the board, you might want to move to them for one reason or another. So if you flip over a location, you have to try to move into there. You have to speak about the topics on the location in order to move inside. So you roll the dice, you try to speak about it. If you do that successfully, you move in, you gain a point. If you don't do it successfully, you stay where you are and you lose a point, but the location stays face up. It is now a revealed and permanent feature of the board, of the world, of the map. Okay, but let's assume that I went in okay. I gain a longevity point. Longevity points are important because they make you stronger when you battle other players. And also, if you drop to 0 longevity points, you get knocked out of the game. That's kind of like dying. Okay, let me show you another card type. That would be an enemy. I know this character is an enemy because it has an opposite color name from my own. In this game, your teams will always stay the same color. So if you could also choose to be the troll if you wanted to as your main starting character. That would mean if you encounter other cards with a black color name, they would be your allies. And if you encountered cards like Naomi or the Word Wizard, they would be your enemies. So same color names are allies, opposite color names are enemies. Unless you encounter other players, then they're always your enemies. Unless you want to kind of play a little bit differently by your own house rules, and that's fine, and make teams between players or whatever. So I encounter an enemy. Now this is a little different. Whenever you encounter an enemy character or an enemy player, you need to refer to the topics on your team cards. And the metaphor or the analogy I have for you to remember this is that you are activating your own powers to shoot or to cast over and destroy that enemy or destroy that other player. That is why you are referring to your own team cards in this case. In all other cases, you refer to the topics on the cards you encountered. Okay, so I would roll a dice and look at my team cards. Now this is really cool because if you have many team cards, you have more options in terms of what you can speak about. So if I rolled a 3, I could talk about apparel or languages or disasters like natural disasters like earthquakes or floods, that kind of thing. I could choose any one of those but it has to be a number 3, okay, in order to activate my powers and defeat the troll. If I defeat the troll, it goes into the cycle pile. It could potentially come back later if we needed more cards. I replace the space, move up 1 point. Now, it's kind of similar how you battle other players. Let's imagine there was another player sitting here. This is the last type of interaction or encounter that can happen in this game. That is, if you move onto the same space as another player, that means you want to battle. So I'm imagining there's an enemy player here. Well, then we go head to head. I roll a dice, speak about something on my team cards. They roll a dice and speak about something on their team cards. Now, if we both can do that successfully, then we go to a roll-off. And I won't get into that now, but there's a way to calculate the winner, essentially. If one person can speak successfully and the other person doesn't, on the other hand, well, then you know who the winner and the losers are. But anyway, you determine the winner and loser of the battle. Winner stays on the space and gains 1 LP, and the loser gets kicked off the board. Now, they can re-enter the board later on their next turn if they still have some LP. But if they're defeated in battle and lose an LP, and if they're ever reduced to 0 LP, then they're permanently out of the game. But winning a battle can knock a player far away from you off the board, and that gets them away from you, and then they have to work their way back in. Now, how you win the game typically is you get to a certain number of longevity points, usually 10. Usually every player starts with 3 LP, and the first player to 10 wins. But that doesn't really matter. I mean, you can play it for as long as you want to because you're learning all along the way. So sometimes games can be really long or short, just depending on how long players really want to play. You don't even have to separate it into winners and losers if you don't want to. You just keep traveling around, having battles, learning things, gaining points. You could even make other ways to win, like defeating a certain number of enemies, teaming up with a certain amount of allies, reaching a special location. You can kind of set your own objectives. I built this game to be really creative and really open-ended and flexible according to your needs. Again, if you really want to come out and see what it's like, come join us, come play in an online game. My website is languagecardgames.com. You can always see the upcoming schedule of events and sign up to play there. And we're tracking our top players' progress on the leaderboard all year long. Top players are going to get prizes at the end of the year, like free game decks of Heading into Language Land. This is another really cool option I want to show you before we go. And this is a card commission that I did for a friend and a customer of mine. So he made the artwork with AI and sent it to me, and I designed the game card for him. And in the end, I sent him the real printed cards, a few copies of this card that he can play with, and also a digital version, a digital file. So this is another option, is we can design your own game card. How cool is that? But again, the game is called Heading into Language Land. You can check out the details at languagecardgames.com. There are foil cards, study guides, a story behind the game that you can peruse at your leisure. And I'm currently working on Heading into Language Land 2. It's probably going to take me another couple years to get that out, but that I'm also showing the game development for that right here on my channel. There's different playlists for my different games. All right, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Hoping to see you in an upcoming game and wishing you all the best with your language learning journeys. Bye-bye for now.